What's good, YouTube? Jay Lee here. I got another Northwest podcast for you guys. Appreciate you guys tuning in. Today I want to talk about a pretty serious, pretty big subject, which I think is creeping into the red pill, and that's immorality. I want to tie immorality. So basically this is going to be about immorality and the red pill. How, immorality affects the red pill, who's exhibiting it, what type of things are they saying, and there's some pretty big culprits in this. There's some pretty big problems, and I gotta name names. There's no other way I can do it, because what I've seen in the red pill in the last 10 years is gimmicks. People starting to gravitate towards gimmicks. Now, let's take for example. Okay, we had Rollo Tomasi and we had Richard Cooper starting out. These guys are guys who maybe their total message isn't perfect. Maybe everything that they're saying is not fully congruent. Some of the things they say are maybe contradictory. But I think that for the most part, they focus on information. They focus on truth. But what I saw happen was gimmicks, right? We had Fresh and Fit come out, right? Their whole platform was based on a gimmick. The gimmick was, let's get women on our show and let's clown on them. Let's make fun of them. Let's make them look stupid. Now, it's one thing to present facts and logic. It's one thing to present facts and logic. And Fresh and Fit does do that. I will give them that credit. They absolutely do that. But I think a lot of what, and I have to, you got to blame the viewers to a good degree. You got to blame the viewers. You got to blame the people who are tuning in, because they want to see the storm outs. They want to see the arguments. They want it to turn into the WWE, right? Now, again, I say Fresh and Fit. If you think of somebody else who's similar to Fresh and Fit, you have the Whatever podcast, right? I think it's called Whatever podcast. Forget the exact handle that it's on, but or the exact YouTube name of the channel or whatever. But I think it's like the Whatever podcast, and very similar platform to Fresh and Fit, right? He has women on there, young women who come on and basically talk about, they're OnlyFans girls, they're girls who do porn, they're basically sex workers, right? He brings them on there and he uses facts and logic, he uses data, he uses science to show them how they're wrong. I appreciate that, because it's not all about the drama. I think Fresh and Fit is more all about the drama, but the real problem with Fresh and Fit is in their uplifting of immorality, right? They uplift immorality. They go by double standards. The double standard is that, it's okay for a man to sleep around, but it's not okay for a woman to sleep around. It's okay for a high value, as long as he's a high value man, he can do whatever he wants. That's a horrible message. That's a message of immorality. So they were wrong in that. So you got to pick your leaders correctly. Also, they're one of the first platforms, if not the first platform, to make Andrew Tate famous. They brought Andrew Tate on. What is Andrew Tate all about? He's all about immorality. He's all about double standards. He's all about hypocrisy, right? He's all about lying, manipulating, and being a con artist, which, anyway, I won't say that, but if you're a true Christian, you don't even have to be a Christian, somebody who adheres to the truth, somebody who appreciates the truth, sticks to the truth, likes the truth, as opposed to liking the lie, right? There's a verse in the Bible that alludes to the world being a system of error, a system of a lie, right? The world is a lie systemically. Things out here are lies. Excuse me, I'm walking on the side of the road here. Things out here things out here are lies, right? Everything is based on a lie. The money system is fraudulent. It's based on a lie. It's based on evil, right? The monetary system, the mammon system, right? The Bible calls it mammon, which is self-gain, and you've got all kinds of fraudulent activities. You've got all kinds of evil, manipulative tactics out here in the world, and it's also based on slavery. The money system is based on slavery. They enslave people to work for a low wage, right? To give away a third of their day. Probably 90% of their lives. You don't get to retire until you're like, 65? I don't know what it is now, but most people only live to be like 75. That's 90% of your life? 85% of your life? I don't know. So that's slavery. That's financial slavery. And yes, okay, we can get off into that, and the benefits there is you get the society where you get all these perks and blah blah blah. Okay, that's fine. Or we can just figure something else out. But I'm not suggesting communism, because we all know that never worked. I'm not suggesting socialism. We all know that never worked. The real answer would be some type of theocracy where God rules and we help each other. And there's love and anyway. But I'm not going to get off into that, because the real answer is that God needs to come back. But specifically with regards to the red pill, so you see this exploitation, you see this manipulation on platforms like Fresh and Fit. Let's see. You have other ones. Pearly Things. It has. She's definitely done some good stuff. She's put out some good stuff, but then on the other hand, she's said a lot of wacky stuff, such as it's okay for men to cheat. She tries to copy the same narrative as Fresh and Fit, which again, this is just kind of promoting immorality, placating to the parts of men that want to be able to have their cake and eat it too. Oh, I want to be told I'm the man, but also it's okay for me to cheat. It's okay for me to sleep around. You have to have a balance of morality. You have to have a balance of morality when it comes to the truth and when it comes to the red pill, because otherwise ultimately, what are we talking about? If we're not talking about the objective truth, if we're just promoting immorality, then what are we talking about? What's the whole point? How are you going to sit there and say, somebody like Andrew Tate say, oh, family is what life is all about, in one breath, and then the next breath say it's okay to pimp women, say it's brag about it, that he exploited women, frauded them out of their money, right? And he's going to trial over that, right? He's been called under the criminal courts of Romania, and if they are indeed a corrupt country, like he said they were, and that's where he really messed up, is claiming they're a corrupt country. He's a very dumb criminal. He basically shot himself in the foot by admitting to all his crimes and then turning around and saying, oh, it's okay for me to do these crimes because I live in Romania. That's why I moved to Romania, right? Which is why so much of his campaign now is all about, oh, Romania is this great country and they're a very Christian nation, and I appreciate that about them, and I love the Romanian people, blah, blah. That's why he's always saying that, because he knows he messed up. He's trying to backpedal. He's trying to walk back his comments that the Romanian justice system is corrupt and he can bribe them. And they're going to take him to task on that. I hope, unless they really are corrupt, and then he might get off. But I don't think he has enough money to bribe them. At one point, he even claimed he was a trillionaire, which is hilarious. Not trillionaire. He might have said a trillionaire, but I think he called himself a billionaire at one point, which is hilarious. But I don't think he has enough money to bribe them. I think they're bigger. they're a bigger fish than that. So what you see is, you see a lot of inconsistencies in what people are saying, and particularly when it comes to morality, right? I mentioned earlier, I mentioned Rollo Tomasi and Richard Cooper. I think that, I'm not saying everything they say is perfect. I think they mixed pickup in with the red pill. I always say the red pill is just the truth. It's not any kind of movement. It's not any kind of new set of things to do and say. I think people who do that are probably embellishing on it. They're probably manipulating it to their own bent and to what they think men want to hear, men everywhere want to hear. When in reality, the red pill is just the truth about what's really going on in society. And again, if you mix immorality in with that, you're just trying to play to what you think your audience wants to hear. And there's a revelation there. If that's true, then why are people following it? Does that mean that these young men really want to hear that? So what I see a lot is actually it exposes to me an underlying problem with society, which is part of the red pill, right? The red pill is just the truth about society, about the way things really are. And it doesn't necessarily just have to be about women. It could be about men too, right? We have to admit, men are playing into the porn culture. Men are playing into the immorality by allowing, by partaking of the immorality, right? So my thing is, let's just be consistent, right? Let's just if we want good women, if we want good marriages, if we want good families, we can't also allow the immorality. If our goal is to say, hey, we're not being treated right in marriage, we're not being treated right in relationships, we're not being treated right in the courts. If our goal is to be treated right, then we have to be righteous ourselves. We have to be right, We have to not play into it as well and say, okay, it's okay for the man to cheat because it's all about being high value, which is funny because this is actually just giving feminism more fuel, because that is misogyny. It's misogyny. It's chauvinistic to say, oh, men can cheat, but women can't, right? No. So Fresh and Fit are wrong in saying that. Andrew Tate is wrong in promoting immorality. He's wrong in allowing men, or not even allowing, but promoting greed, promoting licentiousness, degeneracy, and his own lifestyle's wrong, right? And even I've seen a big push on the normalization of drugs. Like we have this thought that, particularly with somebody like Joe Rogan, who is out here pretending and acting like drugs have no side effects, and oh, the war on drugs is lost, there's no more war on drugs, woo woo woo. Like, drugs hurt people. I'm not, I don't have all the answers, but drugs hurt people. Sorry to say, I've seen it firsthand. So to decriminalize and to legalize all drugs is a dangerous thing. Now, we might be able to do some research into how drugs affect psychology, PTSD, things like that. Maybe to some degree, but to just make this blanket statement that like, oh, all drugs are okay, and this is part and parcel of the normalization of immorality, the normalization of degenerate behavior, which is going to harm society. It's going to affect things, right? So we need to be aware. We need to be, wary. We need to be cognizant of a lot of the type of stuff that's going on in our world and in our culture, and pay attention to this kind of stuff, because I see a lot of new people coming on the scene who are acting like certain things that are harmful, certain things that are not okay, that are clearly immoral, that are clearly part of a degenerate downtrend, acting like these things are normal, normalizing these things. What's that going to do? So, what's that going to do to all the people who listen, all the people who follow these people? Well, they're not going to have morals, and people need to be stronger than that. Men need to have better backbone than that. Know who your leaders are. Know who the people are who are affecting you, who are quote unquote teaching you, or and they'll always have an out. Well, I'm just a guy speaking my truth, or I'm just, hey, you do what you do. There's always that. But people who have a large followers, a large fan base, they have responsibility to not lead their people in the wrong direction, and always be wary. It's the same thing with like rap music. Always be wary of what you're listening to. Be wary of the lyrics. Listen to what people are really saying. Listen to what people are really promoting, and know the difference between right and wrong, and then you can decipher, what's quality content and what's not. What's quality truth and what's just part of the, part of the lie. What's just part of the degenerative down culture, right? Anybody who's promoting any type of sexual immorality, anybody who's acting like might makes right, as long as you're rich you can do whatever you say, you can do whatever you want, as long as you're rich it just justifies everything. I think of people like Donald Trump, I think of people like Andrew Tate. This is their MO. This is how they move. Oh, I'm rich and you're not, so therefore I have power. And if that's the type of people who are leaders in our country, we got a serious problem with our country. We have to remember what the right things are. We have to remember what the righteous things are. We have to remember what the real truth is, and not allow these kind of distortions. Like I said, I had to name names because these are people who are prominent. These are people who are prominent examples. Now, sure, they're exciting. They're titillating. It's like the WWE. They're not boring, But again, what's excitement? What good is the WWE? Oh, sure, it's a little bit of excitement, but at the end of the day, it's fake. It's not real. And people who really get in real fights, there's damage. People who really do immoral things, there's damage. This is what we gotta talk about. And it's not entertaining. It's boring. It's oh gosh, the truth is kind of boring sometimes. But guess what? It's healthy. It's healthy, right? It's healthy. People who are promoting things that are sexually immoral, that are greedy, lustful, right, with money and wealth and things like this, they might seem exciting, but those things aren't healthy. They're promoting things that damage society while simultaneously claiming that there's some kinds of beacons of truth, that there's some kind of, savior to hurting men or whatever. They're just exploiting hurting men. They're exploiting the red pill. These are the frauds. They're frauds in every way, shape, and form. Donald Trump is not a real... he's not a real president. He's not a real congressman. He's not a real government person. He's a businessman, and a shoddy businessman at that, who took a lot of cut corners and admitted to it. Why is that guy so popular? What's wrong with our country? Why is he so popular? Because he's saying all the right things. He's learning the conspiracy theories. He's smart enough, and so is Andrew Tate. He's smart enough to learn the red pill. He's smart enough to learn what the majority of people are believing, taking that truth and using it for his campaign, using it to make himself richer, using it to his bent, using it to make him stronger and better, and to get what he wants out of life. That's manipulation. That's a con artist. That's a grifter, right? You got to be wary of that. And I hope, and you might escape jail, but you won't escape hell. Right? Donald Trump may have escaped jail. Right? Now, don't get me wrong. Don't get it twisted. I'm no liberal. If you listen to any of my videos at length, I'm not a liberal. I don't like lefties. I think they're just as hypocritical as someone like Donald Trump or Andrew Tate. They're worse. The left is horrible. The left is what's taken our country down. But does that mean we go extreme right? Does that mean we go to these extremes and uplift these extreme ideologies and these extreme people? No, you have to have some kind of, you have to see the forest through the trees. You have to hold to values, and this is what our Constitution is based on. It's based on certain values. It's based on certain things that, and I would say, if you like the truth, if you like morality, then you would need to read the Bible. You would need to have biblical values and know what the real morality is and where real morality comes from. It comes from God. Real righteousness comes from God. Now, are we all perfectly righteous? Are we all perfect? Absolutely not. We're fallen. We have proclivities. We're sold under sin, as Paul would say. You know, the Apostle Paul in the book of Romans, we're sold under sin. We need redemption. So technically, yeah, we're all very bad, but let's call a spade, and let's be careful who we uplift, right? So I just want to say that the red pill needs more checks and balances. It needs more screening for its leaders. Is everything Andrew Tate said just all about degeneracy? Is it all lies? I think he's a con artist, so technically, sure, it's all based out of manipulation. But no, if you look at the things he said objectively, I agree. I agree with a lot of what he said objectively. But I don't believe those are his ideas. I don't believe those are his. I think it's all part of his con. Con artists are smart enough to know what to say, when to say it. Just like Donald Trump, he's smart enough to know what keeps people coming back, listening to him. You know, so it's all a system of a con, right? It's all a system of a con. So I agree with a lot of stuff that people say when it comes to red pill. I agree with a lot of stuff Pearly things has said. You know, I agree with a lot of Rollo Tomassi and a lot of Richard Cooper. But does that mean everything they've said is just, you know, perfect? I agree with a lot of Fresh and Fit. Does that mean they're completely not in error? No, they've said a lot of things that are really damaging. They said a lot of things that are wrong. So people listen to that, and this is where the listener needs to be intelligent and not allow themselves to be manipulated. Yes, they've said some correct things, but does that mean everything they said is correct? We all got to think about it. All right, I appreciate you listening. It's been Jay Lee, Northwest Podcast. Peace.